Hello all, we are back to our discussion and here is the chart we created and here mine shows as chart 2. The reason is that I had done this exercise and they appeared in here, but when you create you will see only something written chart 1 here, and if I click sheet 1 that's where my numbers are. Look at here, this is what you created, and you see still these are highlighted. That means that chart came from these highlights. And then I click on chart 2. Each one of these sheets is called Excel sheet. And the entire sheet, when you put several sheets together, you use maybe the name of the book. And that's why we call the whole thing as a workbook. My workbook has 4 pages. Look at here, chart 1. This is what I did just before to show the class. And this is chart 2. This is, I'm sorry, numbers. And this is chart 2. And this is sheet 1. And therefore, what we want to do now, we want to go back to our chart. To go back to chart, I click on this box. And here is my chart. As we said, if you look at here, we have the charts have their own tools. Look at here at the very top, I have my chart tool, and let's see what we get in my chart tool. Do you see change colors as we had it in Microsoft Word? And we have styles of chart. This is a styles group. And we tried some of these styles. I click on this more options and see what kind of looks like. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, many styles in here that I can select. And each style, one of them, suppose, is this one that makes it kind of dark. I go back to my first, and then I come here, and here we have another option regarding data, which says switch rows and columns. That will flip the columns and rows, which we are not going to go there. And change chart type, most likely it gives me other charts. As you know, we selected the pie chart, and we might have different chart. And again, we have another option called move chart, move chart, which you remember we used this. Also, I see 3 things in here. One of the interesting thing in here is this chart, is this paintbrush, which says chart styles. If you remember, you have seen this chart styles right in here. That is what this one is, which means I am going to click on that. And again, I see the same options that I had regarding my chart in here. Therefore, I can choose any of these. And then there are other options in here. Do you see there is a picture of a funnel here? And it says filter charts, which means by filtering means I want to select, excuse me, so for example, I am not interested my rent. If I am not interested in my rent, excuse me, I remove, I remove maybe check mark from here, or leave the check marks. But for now, our this chapter doesn't go into these discussions for now, and we go back again and do the rest of the things. And the numbers here at the very bottom here is written rent, food, and I can even put a chart title. I can click here and put my name there. Here you go, say it. And maybe I can add anything else. And also here, I am not happy with the fact that here is saying sheet 1 at the bottom. I click one time where it says sheet 1. And while my arrow is on sheet 1 here, I right click on it, and I am going to click rename here. And what I like to rename it is to type it my budget, or I want to name it numbers. Because I had done numbers in there, let me change this one to something else. That's fine here. Let me rename and rename. Okay, I click, let me also rename this one for now, and I click chart 1, and here is Okay, when you create these things at home for the first time, you see a chart is being created. This box is called chart one, and this one is called sheet one. That was the first sheet. How nice it is if I rename this one to numbers. How can I rename this to numbers? I'm going to right click on it and click rename. And I'm going to type numbers. And even I can change the name of chart one. I can change it to Sayed chart. I will right click on it, rename, and Sayed's chart. And I click on numbers. I click on Sayed's chart. Now I want to click on numbers, and I want to right click on it. And also I want to give a color to this tab color. What I like usually the red ones. Look at here, I choose the red one. Do you see how nicely my tab for this one changed to numbers? I click here and I click rename, and I change that one to, I right click again. I'm sorry, I said rename. I meant to change that. I click on numbers. I click on Sayed chart. I right click, tab color. Maybe I choose purple for this one. Doesn't matter. The goal is just to show you how this works. One thing I forgot about my numbers. I'm going to click there. I forgot to make it, to use some kinds of style. For example, I'm going to highlight my first line where my months are, and after I select my months, I will go and give some cell styles. Let's see what kind of style I want to give. I want to give heading 1 style to my first line. Look, it's too much, too big. Maybe heading 2 might be better. I click on heading 2. Okay, it looks a little bit, nicer. I can, expand these columns to make sure the names can be, you can read the names. And here I gave some style. Again, I highlight from here to here, these 3 boxes, from cell A4. Look at here, from cell A4 all the way to cell N6. When I say A4 to N6 means that create a big rectangle that covers all these boxes. Then I go to format. Cell style, and the book suppose asks you go to choose 20% accent 6. Okay, 20% accent 6. Can I go and use the same thing? I highlight from cell A9 all the way through cell N17. This cell is N17. This cell is A9. Again, I go back to my cell styles, and then I choose 40% accent. Fine, that is great. And how nice it is if I can put everything, for example, in a kind of box. For example, one time I click on cell A4 and I highlight the whole the numbers, and then maybe suppose, I don't know if the book asks you to do this or not. I click here and I click on all borders. Then suddenly you see everything has a border. I click on do because my first screen didn't have this. And this is the basic thing that we saw originally when I created this. These are exactly the same as what we did. And I am going to save this one as my lecture 4, and then we will go back to the book and see what we missed and what else we are going to cover. But for now, this was the basics of what we wanted to do, and we will ask you to think about. This is what I meant to lecture in the class, and this is what I meant. I meant that you do at while you were, suppose if you had come to the class, I meant that you follow my instruction and submit. Do you remember we were giving you assignment in class, And this is something you have created, imagine for your in class, an Excel sheet that has one sheet called numbers. And in that sheet, at the very top, it should have your name, and under it, it should have budget. Under it, it should have January income, January, all of this. And here, your total income. And one thing I want you to remember that I did not type this 6,000 in here. Some students go and see here is written 5,000, here is 1,000, here is written 5,000. And they come here and they type 6,000 here. Let's not forget, I didn't manually type this 6,000. If you all remember, to get this 6,000 in here, I came and used the AutoSum. Therefore, please do not type manually 6,000. Let the AutoSum calculate for you. When you submit them, I will open the Excel sheet that you submitted. How do I know that suppose you have manually typed or you have let AutoSum type it for you? I look at here to the way you can see. Here, do you see there is a formula here? I highlighted, although you might not see it in a while you are on YouTube, but here it shows me sum B4 all the way to B5. Therefore that is what all the formulas. I have formula here in these boxes. I have formula in here. These numbers came from AutoSum. And even these numbers came from numbers. We didn't manually put 4,000 here. If you remember, we put our equal sign. It is right here on this formula box here. We put our equal sign and then we said B6 minus B17. Therefore, I want you to look at, when you do this, I want you to make sure to use, please, formulas. Don't type the numbers as you want to. Make sure you learn how to use Excel. It's a very powerful tool and it is going to help you in many other courses. And this Excel sheet is used by a lot of organizations. It's not just for businesses. It's not just for accountants. There will be, you will in the next few two chapters, where you will see how powerful Excel is, and we go through steps by steps. What we discussed here, is very basics. And now, after we go through the chapter, we go through more details, and I'm going to put more videos.